Hey guys, what's going on? I want to welcome you to 40K Fridays on Blue Eyes Banter. Now, I'm not really too sure what I'm going to talk about today on this edition of 40K Fridays. A buddy of mine gave me some suggestions, but you know what? Talking about it and thinking about it are completely different things. So I'm going to do my best. One thing I wanted to talk about though was strategy in the game. Now, I've noticed and I've played a lot of games. Not a lot in 6th edition, but a lot in other editions. And I find one thing that, a big mistake when people are playing is their objectives are very spread out. They don't focus on particular units or particular objectives. They mostly just kind of just push all their shit and try to just plow through you using all their stuff. Now, there's nothing wrong with this technique. People use it all the time. I was distracted, sorry. But see, the main thing is, like, for example, say you're using Space Marines. You got like 4 tactical squads and a couple Terminator squads, Land Raider or whatnot, and you're playing against some Chaos. Now, and the Chaos unit, they got like, there's like an Obliterator unit. Instead of like spreading your forces out and trying to take on multiple things, segregate your units into 2 different factions, one for each objective, and try to balance these 2 out so that they're both full of anti-infantry and anti-tank. It's not easy to do, but then focus on one unit, eliminate that unit, and then move on from that unit. And then use that same unit and focus on another unit. Instead of spreading out all the firepower until everything is close. Even if something's not close to you and you can't get to it, put your unit in a position where it won't get hurt as bad. Move it into cover, move it out of line of sight. Think about what your next opponent's move is going to be, because they're going to be reacting to your movements. So try to stay one step ahead of the game. And this is something that I do a lot in my games. When I play, people find that I'm very methodical, and I take a long time to think about things when it's my turn. Sometimes I'm a slow player, but I like to think things through, play all the angles and everything. It's something maybe you can try out as well. Now, this doesn't work for everybody all the time. Sometimes your army is built in such a fashion that you got to ram your army down their throat to win it. There are plenty of examples out there, and I'm sure you guys all know them, so there's no need for me to even, go through them. There's probably way too many for me to list. One that I can think of off the top of my head is biker armies. You can't sit back with these guys. You can't kind of just focus on one thing. You kind of got to just start at one end of your enemy's line and just plow through it and hope to God you make it. But be smart about it. Don't just go fall all out, you know what I mean? Keep stuff in reserve, bring stuff in deep strike and whatnot, and just don't base your army around a single unit either. So I think I'm rambling pretty bad. So yeah, so when you're building your armies too, and building your army comes into it too, because you want to have a lot. I find that I like my troop choices. I like a lot of troop choices. It's more for my enemy to plow through. It gives me a lot more options to work with when it comes to playing the game. I'm not huge on dropping points into big crack units like Terminators and whatnot. Most of my lists that I've built for my Space Marines, and I'm a Space Marine fanboy to the end. I love my Space Marine armies. I'm finally starting to drift towards Chaos Space Marines, still Space Marines. Go figure. I just like my core units. Now I find that they can be a pain in the ass to deal with sometimes. They're good at holding down objectives, and they're very multifunctional. So taking too many troop choices is never a bad thing. I wouldn't recommend taking 6 at 1,000 points. It's not really going to leave you much room. I don't even know if you can do that. I think most I would take would be 4. My 1,500 point list, I have 4 troop choices in it, and they're supported by tanks and everything. And that's another thing I should hit on. Your troop units, they should be supported by other units as well. Don't let them be self-reliant. Sometimes it's nice for me to take a squad of like Stern Guards with a couple units of tactical Marines and have them followed up with like maybe a chaplain, and he can jump into one of the groups, help them out if they get into combat or whatnot. And then maybe the other side go with like, the other 2 tactical squads go with something like a heavy support unit and everything. And now I'm totally not adding in tanks here. I'm talking simply infantry, and I don't want to say the word Space Marine too many times because they might pull down my video because I'm infringing on it. So Space Marine will be what I will use from now. I'm kidding. I'm going to just use the term Space Marine. But you want to keep your units supported. Make sure that when you build your list, that there's not a unit that can't technically be supported by another unit and do the same thing for another unit. So with an example of this, I would not build a Space Marine army and have a captain, 2 10-man tactical squads, then load out 3 5-man units of Terminators. And add in a Land Raider. That would just kind of be a silly list. The support's not there. You lose your Land Raider, you lose one of your big things, and only can move around 5 of the terms. The other 2 terms, not really going to be supported much. buy tactical squads and a captain. As soon as they eliminate the tactical squad, those Terminators are pretty much fodder if you're playing against high numbers. So you want to kind of build your army in a fashion where each unit can support one another. So think twice about building your list. And building a list is not all about just how pretty the models look or what you're actually going to be buying. Think before you buy. Don't buy it just because it looks nice and you really want it. You're more than welcome to do that if you're into collecting and whatnot, and even if you're playing, it can give you options later. But when you're first starting out, the best thing is to think about the next thing in your list that was going to benefit the army that you're playing and help to support the units you already have in it. So, with that being said, it doesn't ever hurt to write out a list before you build it. It's something I always do. The Blood Angel Chaos / Traitor Legion army that I'm working on, the list was written around one model. I wanted a Helldrake model no matter what. I wanted to convert it. It's my centerpiece. And I built the army around that model. So everything, and it wasn't a big point sink. So a 1,500 point list, it gave me a lot of options to move with. 3 full tactical squads. I actually put some terms in. I'm thinking about adding a couple tanks and a Vindicator. So there's going to be a wide variety. And right now with my list, I'm thinking the Vindicator is going to draw a lot of fire from enemy units because it can take out them. It's strong. Two Vindicators in my list is a nasty combo. I might even add a third one. With the Helldrake, it can swoop in. It's got great attacks. I can equip it with a Bale Flamer or a Hades autocannon. So it's got a lot of mobility. So there's 2 big things I have to worry about. And at the same time, those units are all supported by Tactical Marines, a 10-man Chaos Space Marine squads, whatnot. And I'm contemplating adding a Land Raider into it to carry those terms with a Terminator Librarian if I play Blood Angels, or a Term Lord if I play Chaos. So they're going to be fully supported. So the Vindicators can provide cover fire for the Land Raider while it moves. So there's 2 big targets to worry about. Do you get rid of the Land Raider or the 2 Vindicators? Oh shit, there's the Helldrake and everything. And now, I'm not taking into account what I could be playing against. If I'm playing against Imperial Guard at the same points value, I might be in trouble if they take a really good list. A couple Valkyries, you know, frick, it's not coming to the Medusa one, the Medusa battery things, Aegir Hydra flak batteries. Those things are nasty, plus tons and tons of guardsmen. So sometimes having a good list written is not always beneficial depending on the enemy you fight. So that's enough for my strategy talk for now. I don't know if any of this makes any sense to you. It kind of makes sense to me, but something else I should touch on for 40K Fridays are paints. Now, when you go to buy paints to paint your models for the first time, before you even go and buy your paints, think about a color layout. Now, I know this is easier said than done, and those are generators and everything, they're online, but it doesn't really give you a feel for what the model actually looks like. So something I do recommend is spend some time at the hobby store and get a test model and paint it up in the colors at the store and see if you like how it looks. Now, this is never a waste of time because, first off, you're going to be helping to understand your color palette, and you're also getting some valuable painting experience from painting the model. And if you don't like those colors, well, then you can rethink things. You haven't really lost anything. You've gained some. You've gained painting knowledge, you've gained color palette knowledge, and you know what colors might not work or might work. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do this for, like, you know, if you're really stuck on an idea and you have 10 ideas in your head and go there and paint 5 Marines all different colors, you could be there a while. But if you have a kind of a good idea, once you start applying the paint to your model, you can get a feel for what might work and what might not work. And I don't recommend, say you're doing like a red and you're going to want to add in yellow, something like maybe like, you know, Crimson Guard Space Marines, where they're half yellow and half red. Well, you don't really like the red. So you could try out just a test area on your model to see what color might clash nicely with the yellow to give you a feel of what it actually looks like on the model. So don't be afraid to try things out. It's a test model, right? That's what they're there for. I've done this many times with coming up with new color schemes. And do your research. Go online, look at color theory. Color theory will help you a lot when it comes to painting and understanding colors. What colors work good against other colors, hot colors, cold colors, neutral colors, whatnot. And it'll really help you to establish your color palette. Also, it'll help you understand how contrast and clarity work with your paints. Now, another thing with your painting that I should mention is, especially with the new paints, and I know a lot of the old GW paints you had to mix water with. The new paints, I still mix water with them. Now, don't be afraid to paint using water. If you have to use water and thin down your paints and you've thinned them down too much, you've lost nothing by doing an extra 2-3 coats on your model unless you're worried about getting them done quicker. You know, you'd rather come out with a better quality finish using less paint than trying to get the paint on so fast that you ruin your models. So take your time when painting, people. So keep your brushes clean. And Another thing is, too, for newer hobbyists, always use 2 cups of water when you're painting. One for metallics and one for normal colors. And use 2 different pieces of paper towel to wipe them out. You don't want any cross-contamination, though. The metallics can really fuck with your paints sometimes. So, with that all being said, people, I hope today's 40K Fridays video was very informative for you. If you have any suggestions or anything for the next video, for next Friday or whatnot, leave a comment down below. Like my videos, check out all the old ones, whatnot. You know what to do, not doing the point down thing, said it before. Gonna end it a little differently this time, and may the Emperor protect you. You know what, forget it, I'll just do it the right way, you know what I mean, people? So I want you to have fun, stay safe, keep it real, do what you love, enjoy your hobby, and 40K for life. Woo! Another one for you, Ric Flair. Till next time, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Blue Eyes Banter. Bye-bye.